As you've gone through your own process, Shawn, you've actually been able to go out into the public with what you're learning as you go along. It's a bit in the way of the student becomes the teacher, but the whole process is kind of a simultaneous one. That you're continuing to learn and to grow as you go on over the years, but at the same time you do find that you're able to get out into the public, and you do many performances, don't you, of your music, and you give presentations, you do the healing, so you're finding that the whole process is one of being able to include many people within your, in a sense, your own process as it goes along.
Absolutely, and that's it. I'm glad that you brought this up, because it's what I do is I share my experience of what I've been through, and I don't tell anybody. It's not really teaching. I'm just sharing my experience. This is what I had to go through to heal, and hopefully this will help you in some level. You can take it on or not, but I remember years ago having a mentor. I've done a lot of work with men and the healing of men, and this was my mentor. His name's Tom Daly, out in Colorado, and Tom was just a fantastic teacher for me, because he showed me his process, and he believed that as leaders, that by walking our talk and showing and inviting people into our process was the best way to teach. So what I do in these performances with these songs that I do, a lot of these songs are about my own personal transformational process. And so they address those issues inside me that were just really challenging. And so what I do is I share the stories of these songs and my own personal experience, and what it does is invite the listener into my experience to see if it matches theirs. And if in any way it does, then we have something to share. So it's cool, because in the performances what I like to do is actually dialogue with the audience. Like, all right, I just sang this song. Like, there's this one song called Into the Dream, and it's that I do, and it's all about forgiveness and the process of forgiveness. So I tell my story about having to make peace with my parents. They did the best they could, but you know what? I was still a really angry person and holding a lot of resentments and judgments about some of the ways that I was raised. And I had to go back and make peace with all that. And this song, Into the Dream, is a song about finding that place of forgiveness and honoring the shadow emotions of it, but also being able to come to the place of choice, of where it's like, you know what, I need to let this go for me, because I don't want to hold on to this. They did the best that they knew how at the time, but now I can forgive and let go, and allow something greater to come forward from that. And I have people close their eyes and listen to this song, and it's just a rich experience when they start to feed back to me their experiences of how healing that is for them. Because what I offer them to do is to bring up someone that they have a challenge with in their life, and they listen to this song, and it initiates their heart in some way that they can find a place of gift, which is really cool in the sense that there was actually a gift in that experience. I learned something, and I can grow my awareness or evolve and move forward with that. So yes, absolutely. I come from my story, my own personal experiences. I feel like I like to tell people I don't know anything. I've had a lot of experiences that I can share with you, but I don't know anything. And it seems like consciousness is always completely evolving. Just when I find like I feel like I know something, something else happens, and it's like, okay, here's a lot of more stuff to write about, to write songs about, And interesting, one of the things that's on my plate right at the moment that I'm starting to write about, related to, and I'm anxious to share this with my audiences, is learning how to let myself be loved. You know what I mean? It's interesting to love myself, but then when you bring another person into it, to be, and for that part, not only another person, but the actual universe, or God, or love itself, am I really going to let myself be held in that, and loved in that, and supported in that? And whole nother ball game about the depth of allowing myself to receive, as opposed to feeling how much I've given to the world. It's like, well, how can we bring this into balance? And so these are all things that we dialogue about in these performances, and they're incredibly healing. I like to call them happenings, where people have an experience. And it's just not about having a good time and being entertained. It's about actually doing some soul work while you're listening to this music, and coming away from it having been moved to take some action in your life in some way, shape, or form that will have an impact on everyone. So yes, I get out there and work with lots of audiences, and I love to, one of the things I love to do in some of my performances is to do workshops afterwards, where people who are drawn to the arts, painting or poetry or songwriting, can have an experience of actually being held while they explore that within themselves, and understand that, I don't have to be a master musician or a master artist in order to use the arts in a way to hear and listen to my soul and bring my experience forward so I can learn from it. And I think that's something that we've forgot. The arts can do that, because when you go outside the lines, there's a whole array of experience there that can really bring us into the right brain, that allows us to heal. And that's another thing that I'm a real component of. It's like, yeah, I'm out there giving words to how important the arts really are, And I want to come back to something that was interesting when I was talking earlier about the importance of what you're putting in and what I'm putting in to our messages of artfulness. It's like, just this interview alone is in the film that you're creating, is about inspiring people, and you're really conscious about really putting love out into the world through a film. And I think it's time for people to wake up and understand that it's a responsibility that we take to put messages of healing and transformation out into the world, especially when we're being bombarded by the media all the time about fear. And I would invite all the artisans in the world right now to begin to just ask yourself the question, is this what I'm putting out into the world really loving? And if it's not, begin to ask yourself how you could perhaps shift it so that at least we can show the transformation of it, where it's come from, into what it's going to be. And again, which is another very valuable tool of the arts. Show the transformational process, I'm careful not to judge, what's out there, but I'm just inviting it to be in balance.
I can see laughter, or I can see tears. I see a choice, love or fear. What do you choose? I can see